Hi everybody, Martyn flicking feathers again today. I'm tying this green palmer, Pearly green palmer. It's a good summer fly, fished around the weed beds. I dare say, although I haven't tried it, it would be a good mayfly pattern as well, if you were in Ireland. But as I say, I've never fished it in a mayfly hatch. As always, I'll put a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for everyone who wants to support the channel, get access to the members only content, the monthly Zoom sessions, and be entered into the giveaways. You can also just subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notified of the new videos. That's all, I appreciate it. So I've got my hook and my vise. It's a size 10 Kamasan B175. Probably tie these 10s and 12s really. And I'm just going to start some Globrite number 12 right at the start of the bend. Just leave my tag and use it to control the turns coming around. Just once down, once back up, and lift the tag up. Just make sure it's all aligned. Catch it, and then just come straight in and whip finish. Just 2 turns is plenty. Put that nice and tight. Trim away my waist and I'll stick it in my wee tub to turn into dubbing later. And then I'm going to varnish this. Now, I know some folk will want to use UV resin, but what I like to do usually is I would say I'm tying a half dozen of these. I just do the tags, varnish them as I go, and then by the time I've done the 6, the first one will definitely be ready to go, be dried. And it's actually quicker than UV resin because you don't need to stop and pick up a light. You're just skipping that stage every time. And to be honest, it's probably a bit tougher than the UV resin because it's soaked right in. So here's one that I did just before. And I'm just going to now start with some light olive uni in 8O. And I've waxed it. I've waxed enough to get on and tie in my tail basically, and my ribs. Come back to the barb of the hook, so I'm overlapping the whip finish of the floss anyway. And I'm just going to get a crest feather, golden pheasant crest feather. I like to just moisten them sometimes and just see how the curve wants to sit. And then for the length, I like a good hook length on this. You can of course tie it shorter if you're fishing competition. You know, if you need to make sure your fly complies with the size rules. And I'm just going to tie this down once I get it in, because I don't want it to move when I tie in my ribs or anything. So next is some mirage tinsel and a bit of silver wire. Just tie them both in at the same time and take them back. Then for my body I've got a mix here of fluorescent green and medium olive silver. And I've just finger blended it. It's no so thoroughly blended that it just appears to be one colour. I don't know how well you'll be able to see on the camera, but there's a slight sort of mottling or unevenness through it. You know, there'll be light bits, dark bits, which is what I like. You know, I like just to have that, like the kind of wee patches that are slightly different colour. It's slightly uneven. I think it just looks a bit more natural. Right, body hackle on this is this. It's a dark dun that's been dyed, a dark blue dun that's been dyed chartreuse. It's quite a dark olive. It's very greeny as well. It's not a million miles away from a Melvin olive, except this is fluorescent, right? And I'm a big fan. I think fluorescence, no UV, but fluorescence is a very important aspect in a lot of flies. The UV light penetrates water, it's the last thing to disappear, and basically what it does, it makes your fly more visible because they emit light in the visible spectrum, right? So this will emit light in the colour of the hackle, which will make it kind of stand out to the fish, right? And I always think if you have something that's kind of dull or natural looking and fluorescent, it's just a win-win. So I'm going to take, there's 1, 2, maybe even 3 turns at the front, and then I'm going to come down like your 3 or 4. Now you have a choice here. I always like to use the wire first, right? Because I think it makes a stronger fly overall, basically. So you can go up first with the mylar and then cover it with the wire, and that sort of protects the tinsel, right? But if the tinsel's what's actually tying in the hackle and the tinsel goes, the wire's not really got that good a grip of the hackle. And I always think that it's just not as tough, right? So what I like to do is I'll come in with a wire here and get that tied in nice and tight. 4 turns up and a full turn at the front. Never pull out or anything like that, and it keeps everything out the way. And now I'm going to follow it with my mirage tinsel, and I'm going right in the gaps created by the wire, right? Which means you also trap a wee bit less of the hackle with the flat tinsel. And if the mylar does go, you just end up with a wee curly bit of flash in your fly anyway, and it still works. And the hackle's still nice and secure. So I've taken that up, trim away the waste. I mean, you will trap some fibres, but it's no the end of the world. You just come in, get a brush with the Velcro, and that catches them and draws them out through the gap, brings the dubbing out. Looking good. A few turns, a bit of wax. Quite a strong hackle stem I've got here. Just break that away. And that's just that's a Hebert Minor saddle if you're interested, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, Chinese necks are just as good for wet flies. In the head, I'm just taking like a standard olive hen hackle. Quite long. I want it to be fairly leggy. If you want to brighten the fly, you could use like a chartreuse. And if you want it to darken it, you could use like a partridge or something dyed dark olive, just to get that mottling. But I like this. It's as I say, I mean, it's a good summer fly. It's not maybe an everyday choice, but on its day, it's absolutely deadly. So I'm just going to take this hackle and I'll just fold it as I go, and I'm going to put plenty of this on. Just take it one turn in front of the other. And I like it now. See, I'm starting to get up into the long fibres. Get that nice sort of leggy look. I don't want too many that are this length, which is why the hen hackles are great. You know, they've got that sort of, they flare in shape. They're much wider at the base than they are at the tip. And I think that'll do it. Tie it off, fold it back, and then I'll just come back, building my head, snap that away. Now, another thing you can do if you want is put floss, put a bright head in it, but I really don't think that's that necessary. You've got the tag, you've got the fluorescent body hackle, the fluorescent green, and that, you know, that dark green olive. It's a dull, bright fly, I suppose you'd maybe say, which might sound a bit strange, but it is. Just trim away the thread, a couple of coats of varnish, and the fly's done. Just clear the eye. There you go. That's the pearly green. It's, you can see there like that, the tinsel catches the light, but the fly itself isn't that bright, you know. But the fish will be able to see it really well and pick it out. So I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up below and subscribe to the channel. Take lines, guys. Bye.